everyone, I'm Marissa.
And I'm Kerri, and welcome to episode 6 of the World of DVC show.
On today's episode, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Walt Disney World Resort.
We have a magical interview with the very first Walt Disney World Ambassador, Debby Dane Browne, and the moment you've all been waiting for, story time with Sue and her chance meeting with the one and only Walt Disney.
And of course, our show would not be complete without lots of prizes and surprises. And we have a very special guest.
We do. Do you know who the special guest is?
Well, Derek booked him.
No. Oh. Hey guys, you excited for the show today?
Yeah, but who's the special guest?
Me.
Oh.
Happy anniversary, Walt Disney World. Thanks, guys.
Daddy, look, a giraffe. I can't believe we can walk through the castle.
It starts with a spark, alive in our hearts, a chance to build your legacy. To go to magical places with smiling faces and value and trust you can see. When it's buying or selling, renting or lending, there's a wonderful dwelling with wishes unending. You'll save a lot when you believe. So go with the team who will achieve your dream. Enter the world of DVC.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now entering the world of DVC, the ultimate DVC destination where magical vacations meet incredible value through exceptional service. Put in your headphones, turn the volume up, sit back, relax, and step into the world of DVC.
Just wish on a star. Enter the world of DVC.
Happy,
Happy
50th Walt Disney World!
You had to hold it
I
just
didn't
a
know
little
we
bit
were
longer.
holding the notes, Derek.
I feel like I need to write an original song celebrating 50 years of Walt Disney World.
I thought you were going to. I'm kind of disappointed. To-do list.
Oh, it's right here.
Is it on your to-do list?
It's right here. It's on my to-do list. Welcome, everybody. We're so glad that you guys are here. This is our very, very special
Yes.
50th anniversary of Walt Disney World show. Do you believe it?
I can't believe it because I saw the 25th anniversary of Walt Disney World with the pink cake
Ah.
castle, and yeah, so
love
it's.
that cake.
I know this was magical though. This was definitely a magical celebration.
This was amazing, and we have got a jam-packed, prize-filled
true. Oh, my goodness.
50th anniversary show planned for you guys today that we were just talking in the kitchen before we come up there. We're like, how are we going to fit all this stuff in?
Well, we had so many other things planned where, like, literally yesterday, we're like, crop it, cut it. We're doing a whole new show, and we're just talking about the 50th.
We had to. It's been massive. It's been everywhere. So
Yes.
yeah.
So yeah, we're going to give you guys some incredible play-by-play videos, some descriptions of these two lovely ladies were at the Magic Kingdom. They arrived last year to be able to get in to the Magic Kingdom.
I mean, close. We got our
Let's do it.
reservation like 6 months
A long time ago. It's true.
So they've got great stories about what was it like actually to be in the Magic Kingdom on that day.
So fun.
I have great stories about what it was like to eat and drink at Disney Springs. Celebrating the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, Kerri did an amazing interview with the very first Walt Disney World Ambassador of all time. And oh my God, these stories are incredible. It's the return of what? The most anticipated story time with Sue, I think,
yes.
in human history,
Yeah.
right? Which one is this one?
This is the Walt story.
This is the Walt.
This
We
is the
saved
Walt
it,
Disney
especially
story.
for this
Yeah.
episode. So, I mean, I can't wait to see it.
No, it's,
Yeah.
There's so much history in this show, and we're so lucky to have Debby Dane Browne and the story time with Sue with Walt Disney. So there's just a lot, like you said, it's jam-packed. There's a lot to do.
There's a lot.
my
I even have
goodness.
a special shirt that I
Right.
just bought on Sunday night at the Polynesian. Last minute trip using my DVC points. Went to the Polynesian, walked over to Bay Lake Tower, took the monorail, bought I guess it's not an official 50th anniversary shirt, but it says 1971 on it.
Close enough.
And it's a jersey.
Special.
So it's special. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my goodness, there's just so much to talk about. And we figured we couldn't have it be our episode celebrating the 50th without prizes. So we'll let you know what that is. Stay tuned for that. But I mean, also, like we talked about, you had the interview with Debbie, right?
Yes.
And you have to make sure you stick all the way through this episode because this is probably, in my time being a cast member and my Disney experience, this is one of the most special moments that I've had.
Yeah.
And so it truly is so special. But something that's really cool that I thought we could just talk about in the beginning here is the fact that for those of you who don't know, obviously we're in Orlando, but our offices are based in Windermere. And if you don't know anything about Windermere, it's used to be kind of like a fisherman area for people in Orlando. So there was like little cottages, and Windermere's considered among the lakes.
Right.
Town among the lakes. Well, we got such a cool snippet of Disney history, and we'll tell you a little bit about that as the episode comes along. But come to find out, Roy had bought 5 cottages right on the Lake Tibbet here. That's Lake Tibbet from Windermere, and bought 5 cottages there. His whole team went and stayed there as they built Walt Disney World. So I mean, how cool, how full circle it is that our offices are sitting right on the lake that Roy Disney used to have a house on.
And us as cast members, former cast members, Marissa and I are hearing this story going, what? Where? When? We're Googling this information because we just couldn't believe what we were hearing. We'd never heard these stories before.
I spent a lot of time on county records and Zillow.
Finding we were talking Saturday about the price of them and what I thought the price would be and what they actually were. And it was just, I mean, Debbie just gave us just such, like, she ripped the curtain back. Oh my God.
Well, I think that's what makes it so cool is that it's not just, because there's plenty of places, we get it, that you can go online and read about, you know, what did you think about this fireworks show or that fireworks show or anything else. This is stuff that literally, as I'm making my 3rd espresso of the morning, they're in the kitchen talking about these stories that Debbie was saying and all this stuff, and it's just incredible. So Disney historians, Disney fanatics out there, your mind will be blown with what you're going to hear today.
She was just fabulous. Awesome. We could have talked to her all day.
Yeah.
We really could have talked to her all day.
This could have been a 3-hour-long episode.
It really could have.
If we had it our way.
Yeah, until she said, my family's waiting for me and I'm hot and tired, and so we let her go.
Now, I'm not going to gloss over that. Yes, you guys could have, but Marissa told me today, she's like, literally, have you heard the story about my phone? They were talking to Debbie so much that literally her phone was dying. So Marissa, please share, because again, I learned something new today about what these are, these fuel rods for your phone when your phone was dying.
Those are the best things out there.
It's the coolest thing.
Okay, well, I mean, we're basically...
Shameless plug.
We're not a sponsored podcast yet, but Fuel Rod, if you're out there, we're looking for a sponsor. No, but these are super cool.
Brought to you by Fuel Rod.
Next episode, just wait. My phone died, obviously, and I was stressing because not only do I have work stuff, but I wanted to take more videos to bring you guys for this day. So I got one of these super nifty fuel rods, and it's basically a little charger, and then anytime it runs out, if I find another little fuel rod pod, I just replace it for free. So
I didn't even know they had
so you can charge it at home,
Yeah.
you know, and then take it to the park with you, and then if it starts to run out, you just go to the little kiosk, that little like vending machine almost, put the little thing in, and I mean, it was like part of the most magical moment of the day for us too. Who would have thought?
It's not even on the sheet. Fuel rod conversation. It doesn't even say. So, all right.
Goodness.
So with that, I want you guys to take everybody listening, everybody watching, take us to what it was like October 1st when you guys got up at a really, really early morning and charged up your cell phones and got to the Magic Kingdom. Walk us through. Tell us what it was like that incredible day.
Yeah.
Kerri and I had a breakfast reservation at Ohana, so we went and parked at the Polynesian. We may
How far in advance did you have to make that?
The day before.
How?
Honestly, Kerri and I working our magic.
We did this the day before because sometimes that's the best time to get a reservation is the day before, right? The
People
last
cancel,
minute.
yeah.
They do. So the day before.
Nice.
We may or may have not made it to breakfast, but we did park at the Polynesian, and we took the monorail over to Magic Kingdom. So we walked in, and
Was it packed? Like
so
the monorail?
No.
No?
we woke up to Derek sending us crazy videos at 6 a.m. Literally, my
did.
phone is blowing up.
I saw pictures online, and I immediately started taking screenshots of them and be like, you guys got to be careful. It looks
You did
crazy
say that.
down
You did.
there.
Well, we didn't get there. We got there, what, about 9 o'clock,
Yep.
8:30, 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And when we got on the monorail, we both looked at each other and we said, there's nobody here. It's just us. Because people had really gotten to Magic Kingdom about 4:30, 5 o'clock to line up. We are not those people. And so we just kind kind of showed up when we showed up, and we missed that big crowd,
Yeah.
which was great because I think we both were like, okay, pack your patience. We're going to be okay. We're in for the long crowd.
Ignore all text messages from Derek.
Right,
'cause he's
ignore all
just going
text
to freak
messages.
us out.
Stress me out.
It was really like the cast members were so excited at the Polynesian and security, and everybody's saying happy 50th, and we just took the monorail over to the Magic Kingdom and got off and literally just walked right in.
Yeah, there was
Go
no
ahead.
wait. No, you go ahead. So
Well, it was fabulous because when you first walk in, they gave the commemorative 50th map, which was so great, and we had a bag with us, so it got stayed nice and preserved. And then the regular park maps I thought were just so beautifully done as well, with the 50th there, and then just the beautiful castle. Aren't that beautiful?
So I had asked, which I'm sure people are probably thinking too, which for that special one, that commemorative one, they handed those to you, right? Like they didn't just have like buckets of them sitting out, because I imagine people probably, you both, would just shovel them into like your backpack.
You
and
know
just
us
take them
really
out.
well. So that's why they were like, here's one.
Was it
and
really?
That's it. Yes, because I mean they're so special and they're
they're
thicker.
so
and
nice. Shiny.
it's inside, right. It's all
really
shiny
great.
inside. It's really beautiful. It's a commemorative piece, to frame or to keep somewhere on a curio or whatnot. And but when we walked in, it to me like it had the feeling of like, Christmas morning or Thanksgiving or even like Halloween. There's something in the air, and it just felt very celebratory when we walked in and the Dapper Dans were singing. Like we hit that moment when you walk in, it was like quintessential Disney. The first,
Like they were waiting for you.
like they were waiting for
Cue the Dapper
us.
Dans,
Yes.
Marissa and Kerri.
But the longest line, right when you walk in, like the longest line that we saw out the gate was for the popcorn wagon, because they had those commemorative popcorn buckets.
Yeah.
We did not wait in that line, but we just took in the sights and the sounds, and we ran into these guests that had like handmade painted outfits on. There was about 5 or 6 of them.
People were dressed to the nines. I mean,
They were, yes.
beautifully. Like the creative costume / like everyday clothing that people were able to make for this event. Like I saw a girl looking like Cinderella with like shiny ears, but like so perfect for the parks. It was awesome.
Lots of Disney bounding and themes and families together. And we learned that day because we looked at the on the app to see how long the wait times were, and the wait times were 10 minutes, 5 minutes. We said, why is nobody at any of the attractions? People come to truly get the merchandise or sit on Main Street or just be part of the Magic Kingdom that day and just be part of that history.
I kept hearing that.
Yeah,
That like
and-
the wait times for people that went were not
it was
crazy.
not crazy.
But it was like an 8-hour line to get a popcorn bucket.
It sure was.
Well, and Main Street was like the lineup of people on Main Street was like what you'd see for a normal parade or fireworks lineup,
Right.
and it never changed. Like
didn't.
people were just hovering, so it kind of had that electric feel when you were walking down Main Street.
Were there any like Disney VIPs
I was just
milling
gonna say,
around?
What
or?
was so nice is literally as we walked down the street, we said, "Oh my gosh, there's Jeff Fawley, the president of the Walt Disney World Resort." So of course we have to stop to get a selfie with him, and so we did. And
You guys walk in, the Dapper Dans are singing. There's the president of Walt Disney World. Like, welcome.
We've arrived.
wait in line at 4:30 or sleep in a little extra and get there about 9. We
Yeah.
hit the timing just right, and we literally were like, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't. I wish we had this grandiose plan, but we really just hit everything really well. But we took a picture with Jeff, and I just loved to see. We're all former cast members, so
Right.
to see the executives and especially the president just walking up and down
That
the
was
street,
cool.
and Josh Giamaro just walking up the street and taking
everybody was
selfies
there
with
then.
people.
Yeah,
They
of course.
were.
That's awesome.
And just talking to the guests. And I think that for the guests was a magical moment. 25 years ago, you didn't have Instagram and Facebook and social media and all this stuff that you can really get to know who these people are.
Right.
But now people follow, Josh Giamaro on Instagram. They follow Jeff Fawley. So I think that they felt like, hey, we know you, that you're the celebrity now
Right.
in Magic Kingdom. So it was really great to see that.
That's
and
awesome.
grab a picture with him.
Yep. And then we got to hear, what was it, the original?
Yes, Roy.
Yes.
The speech.
Yep.
From Jeff. So there was a voiceover that Jeff did of around all Magic Kingdom, and he kind of replayed the dedication, or not replayed it, but he sort of reiterated the dedication from October 25th on Dedication Day,
And he did that
1971.
live?
Well, he did
there?
it over the
He
loudspeaker.
did it over the loudspeaker.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then the pianist.
the pianist was amazing. And so what they did is the original Casey's Corner pianist, you know, right outside of Casey's Corner,
yeah.
there's that like beautiful 1971 piano. And they brought back the original piano player
that's
to play
awesome.
on October 1st. It gets better though.
Uh-oh.
They brought him back, and then they also had the newest pianist to be hired also play that day too. So you had the original, and then you had the newest pianist to play on October 1st,
That's so
2021, not 1971. Yes, but it was so magical.
Yeah.
And so we walked over to see, and because I said to Marissa, I said, oh, this is where the pianist can be. I mean, just the crowd.
Oh, my goodness.
Like, that's where the crowds were. The crowds were not at Splash Mountain or Thunder
Right.
Mountain or Space Mountain. They were at the entertainment on Main Street around the hub. And that's like, that gives me goosebumps because we're Disney purists sitting here, right? We love that history and heritage. And so to see the original Main Street Casey's Corner pianist, what a moment. What a moment for him. What a moment for that cast, for the entertainment, and then for the guests.
Yeah.
Just, really, really special.
That's so cool. Did they, I heard that Disney might or may not have sold some special merchandise.
Did you hear that?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Some brainiac came up with the idea and said, we might make a few bucks if we sell some 50th anniversary. So tell people, what was that like? Was that...
So, I mean, I'm a
Magical?
shopper at heart, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
kind of like my goal of going there on the 50th was, yes, to take it all in and then, like, buy things.
Right.
So I was like, all right, Kerri, here's what we're going to do. We'll do this and that, and then we'll go shopping. Kerri's like, I'm with ya.
Yeah.
And so
we were in.
I
And
go
then-
so we go to the line and
No
they,
other guest had that same idea.
no one. So again, we got there at 9, so we were very late to the party.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I go to get in line, and they were like, well, right now the line is closed for standby. And I'm like, okay. So they said, you can scan the QR code. So I scanned the QR code, and then he was like, just keep hitting refresh. It'll eventually work. So I waited about 2 hours hitting refresh, only to find out that the virtual queue had shut down at 9. And there were just because there was that amount of people. I think we heard someone on the monorail who said that they got there at like 6 or 7.
Yes.
Who got into the virtual queue, and their callback time wasn't going to be till like 7 or 8 o'clock that night.
What?
So it was like a
Right, yeah.
12-hour virtual wait.
Yeah.
So needless to say, Kerri and
Who are
I,
the people buying merchandise like that morning?
we
then?
failed at the shopping
Yeah,
experience.
we hit the magical moments, but the magical shopping moment, we failed
missed it.
miserably at that.
Which is a bummer, because our whole goal of doing the show and what we really wanted to do is give away this great gift basket full of 50th goodies. But with there's a will, there's a way. And if you
we are
haven't
problem solvers at heart.
if you haven't met the team at World of DVC, we can make just about anything happen. So we finagled away. I won't tell you how, but we finagled away, and we did manage to scoop up a ton of fantastic
Yeah,
50th gear.
really great stuff.
So we thought we would give away just one huge gift basket full to one lucky winner on our show. So we're going to make it very, very simple. But before I go into the details on that, I do want to let you know, last episode, we talked about giving away a dinner and a movie. So we're going to give away a $100
Right.
Disney gift card. Of course, we're sending that out, but I did want to let you all know that Ed from Massachusetts is our winner. So
Wonderful.
Ed from Massachusetts. You're from Massachusetts.
I am from Massachusetts.
Do you know Ed?
Of course I know Ed from Massachusetts. We all know each other.
Do you guys park your cars right next to each other?
We park our cars at Dunkin' Donuts.
another seamless plug for our sponsor, Dunkin' Donuts.
This is a
Dunkin' Donuts.
sponsor-ridden show next month. Fuel
Oh,
So
that's
Ed,
wonderful.
congratulations,
Yes.
you've won that. But let me tell you how to scoop up this fantastic prize that we are giving away this month. We're just, again, going to keep it very, very simple. So whether you're listening to us on podcasts, and it's Apple Podcasts, if you want to give us a 5-star review, if you're on YouTube and you just give us a thumbs up and a little comment there. And then we're going to be posting this throughout our social media channels. So I'm going to plug up all of our Instagram handles. But if you want to follow us on Instagram, every Instagram account, we've got 3 total, so I'll put them all up there for you. But every Instagram account that you follow, like, and comment, we will give you an extra ticket
Yeah.
or extra chance
yeah.
to win our fantastic gift basket. So again, very, very simple. Make sure you are giving us some sort of like, whether that's throughout podcast or YouTube. Follow us throughout our 3 Instagram, and then make sure you email us, info@worldofdvc.com.
Right.
let us know your name and mailing address. And in the mail in a couple of weeks, someone might be getting a really
You
great
could be
bundle
as
of
lucky
prizes.
as Ed
From Massachusetts.
from Massachusetts is. Right now, he's going to think about, well, how am I going to spend that $100?
I know.
Huh?
We're so happy
$100
for
Disney
him.
gift card. That's
$100
awesome.
Disney
So
gift
thank you, Ed. And thanks to everybody once again for watching. We can't believe it's episode number 6, and we can't believe we remember taping the first one, thinking about this and hearing stories about, oh my God, the 50th anniversary is coming up.
Right, it's
and
true.
all of this.
Yeah.
So I know I wanted to just share a little bit about my day, just because you guys were at the Magic Kingdom.
Right.
You were lucky enough to be able to get in there, get into the Magic Kingdom. I said, I want to still play too, but I can't get into the Magic Kingdom. I can't get into any park. So what do? So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to Disney Springs. Not to buy any merchandise. I had zero desire to buy any merchandise, but I said, you know what? Let's take the kids to school. Then let's go ahead. Annie, my wife, we just drove over to Disney Springs, got into the parking garage nice and early, like maybe 30 minutes before Disney Springs opened. So about like
Not 4:30 in the morning.
about 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, there's no virtual queue to park your car. But we got there, and yes, as expected, the line outside of the World of Disney store was crazy. And I said, I'm not going anywhere near that store whatsoever. I'm just happy to be down here. But my wife got hit with that case of FOMO, I think it's called, right? She's like, why is everybody standing in line? Like, I feel like I need to go in there. And I'm like, honey, we've already watched these videos online. Like, we've seen the merchandise, and a lot of it's super cool, but I don't think there's any need to go stand in this long line that's snaked around. She thought different.
Happy wife.
And so
she won.
she won,
Yeah.
but we kept seeing also people next door from the Lego store that were walking out with Lego bags, like at 10:15 in the morning, like right away. I'm like, is there something special going on in the Lego store? Like, I had no clue what was going on. So my wife found a little boy that was sitting over there with her Lego bag, and she's like, what did you buy in there? I need to see what's in there. And it's a special little castle. I could probably take a picture and show it, but it's a 50th anniversary, smaller version of a castle. My wife's like, oh, that's so cute. And then I looked over at the Lego store, and I saw the line snaking all the way around. And I said, it is real cute. That was it. And she's like, well, I'm going to go get in line at the Disney store, because the World of Disney. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to sit here and just enjoy my coffee. But I wanted to surprise her. So I snuck over to the Lego store, waited in that little line. So when she walked out, she said, what did you do while I was gone for the 18 hours standing in line at the World of Disney store? Which she bought nothing, by the way. There was no line. Like, the line wasn't bad to get in, but she's like, once you were in there, she's like, the line to check out was like crazy. So she didn't really find anything, which is fine. But again, she had that relief, that FOMO taken off of her shoulders. But I showed her, I said, well, I happen to find this. And I pulled out the little tiny castle for her. And she was super, super excited. So that was fun.
Well,
so it was a perfect,
for those of you who
morning.
don't know, Derek has the actual Disney World castle made out of Legos displayed
big one.
displayed in his home.
The big one.
He's acting like he didn't really want it. This is like
Did you set it up for
to the
Annie or
DeBoer
for
house.
yourself? Yeah, a
Right,
little bit
I
of
look
both.
so nice. I'm like, the big one we have here, and I was like, do we need another little one? But I was like, no, you know what? We need something to have that says the 50th.
50th,
Even
yeah,
though that's
you
what's
do.
so cool about it
You
is
do.
because you guys were at the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
You guys were at the, the holy ground right there. I was still on Disney property, which we wanted to celebrate it and just kind of at least be on Disney property, because again, Disney Springs wouldn't be there if Disney World didn't open 50 years ago. So
Right.
just to see how much the springs have changed, and it was incredible. It was such a beautiful day. And the weather this weekend, for those of you who were not here, was
beautiful.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It was
So did you
beautiful,
put the
beautiful
castle
weather.
together? Is it done?
No, it's still in a box.
Okay.
It's still in a box. I'm waiting for my children to put it together.
Maybe that's next episode.
I don't think
You'll just sit here and put the castle
Building
together.
Legos.
I don't think you want me to put it together. I'll have to put these. What? I can't find the pieces. You don't want me doing it. Put it
Should I
together.
read the directions for you?
But yeah, it was just so much fun, and such a great
it's
weekend. And hearing your
awesome.
guys' stories and seeing your guys' pictures, and I know you
Yeah.
guys have some incredible videos too,
And we
as well.
texted so much with you that day
Yes.
too, so we missed you, but we felt like you were with us.
Yes.
But we definitely did miss you.
Especially when I showed you the picture of me at the boathouse.
That
with
was- yeah.
a beer and some calamari sitting there, and I said, "This is how I celebrate the
Yeah.
50th." And you guys were sweating at the Magic Kingdom with your headbands. I was like, "Thanks for taking one for the team. Great job."
I know, but we had a great time though. We really did.
So what else do we need to talk about? What else are we talking
Well,
about?
I think there's been so many kind of opinions, right, on the 50th. Whether it's good or bad, there's just been a lot of feedback. And so I think like what we love to do with the show and just in general is kind of give our honest feedback. So, and I think that's kind of what people have been dying for, whether they're going on YouTube or reading blogs, is what is like the honest opinion.
Right.
And so there were so many, like Kerri and I talked about in the beginning, kind of walking in that like buzz feel and so many magical things going on. But of course there's things that you go, could there have been more, right? So I'll go into like if Marissa ran Walt Disney World.
There's a PowerPoint coming up.
Here we go.
Hold on. We got all this.
No, but I think there were little things, like just something small, like air conditioning, right? So you couldn't walk, just jump in the shop to cool off because the virtual queue and the lines were closed. So there was nowhere to walk and just get a little bit of air conditioning. So if you're kind of around Main Street wanting to be in that environment, there's no air conditioning. There was nowhere to get quick waters. So like the kiosk, even like the churro kiosks were hour-long waits.
Because they had people buying that special stuff?
Yeah,
like
but just in nobody left Main Street. So for the mobile orders were 2 to 3 hours out. So you couldn't go into the restaurant unless you had a mobile order. So just little things like a quick bottle of water or a little bit of air conditioning, those were things, kind of those moments where you go, should they have like cups of water available or little cooling stations? People were getting hot.
Do you remember, it reminded me too of the opening of Disneyland when there was a water strike in Anaheim. And Walt had to choose between water fountains or restrooms. And that's a true story. Yes, because there was a water strike. And so which do you choose? Well, he chose restrooms. Yeah, it's true. It's true. So in 2021, we could still relive part of what Disneyland went through by having no air conditioning and limited bottled water.
But those, I mean, obviously those are the little things that kind of you talk about and pick out. I think like ultimately just even going, like Kerri and I talked about, the Walt Disney Museum in San Francisco, right? Like those really cool moments. I think people were kind of itching for that. Like, where is that special, like, I'm here on the day and what is special that I can see or pull from to say? And I think sometimes what gets lost in kind of the overall big picture of let's do this entertainment show and have this great merchandise and spend on this and do that. Sometimes people just want the simplistic memory. Yeah. So like things like the map or that beautiful poster that we got as we left, like those are really special. And having Roy's quote said over the loudspeaker, those are the moments. But even little things like if you had something to scan on your phone, right, where you could go and like maybe read an article on this or hear Roy's voice on that one, things like that probably wouldn't have been like cost a fortune. Or I was even saying like, what if you had like an actor portraying Lillian and standing in different areas or reliving? I think people wanted a little bit of that. What I think is really special about this show as we go along is we tried to capture as much of that as we could and kind of put that into the show. But I think that's kind of the marks missed. I think there's been a lot of comments on overall entertainment, which coming from entertainment, I'm an entertainment cast member, right? So I remember like on the ships being in entertainment and we'd get reviewed every single week. And there's nothing more devastating when you've put your heart and soul into a show, into a performance where you know I've given everything. And then to get the guest review that's like average or below average and the crushing spirit. So I hate that for the cast of a lot of the feedback that's coming from it.
And especially in this day and age where it's instantaneous, right?
Yes.
So as soon as a show is done, someone has to be the first one. I'm going to post my review. I'm going to post my review. So it's instantaneous. It's not like you're even waiting a week for the feedback to come back. So,
and there's been some, I think, some really cool, innovative things that have been plugged into this year in terms of entertainment. But obviously, I think there's been kind of a sign of like budget that has cut some of that. And so I think, I mean, even just kind of not to go into much detail, but like the fireworks, like Kerri and I were talking, we wanted like gold glitter everywhere. That's all I wanted, you know, like just sparkle the heck out of it. I wanted to see like Elsa, but gold, like they did for Christmas. So I think those are kind of moments where everyone has their own opinions, right? But I think the cast did a really good job of innovation, but I think it was coupled with budget cuts, so I think that's kind of been the theme of disappointment.
Yeah, I agree with you too. There was that celebratory feeling when you walked in. There was so many special moments, and the cast were so excited, and the guests were so excited, and you could really feel that people put their heart and soul into this, whether you were a guest who made plans for months or years, or the cast who were just so excited to get the special name tags. You know, my Facebook blew up with cast members saying, we have our special 50th name tag. And I have to say, for a moment, I was like, oh, I don't get get one of those. Oh, no.
Did you have
but
FOMO too?
I had big time FOMO for just a moment, and then I thought of you and all your Disney shirts, and I was okay. It's true.
I got this one.
Yes. But so they were so proud of those, and that's what I think cast love about being part of Disney is it's those simple moments, like Marissa said. It's something about that name tag that is so darn special that only they get, and only they should get those, you know? And I, too, wanted something that felt a little bit nostalgic. And as we were walking, and I had just said to Marissa, gosh, I wish that they would have recreated, like, the dedication of Walt Disney World. And then Jeff's voice went over the loudspeaker with the dedication, and Marissa's like, your wish came true. I said, oh my gosh, it did. And so we listened to it, and it really did kind of give me chills in that moment. But I feel like some parts less could have been more, but in other parts, yes, glitter out the castle, you know, make that stuff gold. But for Marissa and I, our crowning moment truly was sitting with Debby Dane Browne and listening to all of her stories. And but prior to that, she was in the park that day for a couple different reasons. So Debby not only was the very first Walt Disney World ambassador, but she was an original vacation planner on Hotel Plaza Boulevard. And her and 13 other ladies and Larry, there were 14 Disney girls and Larry. Is that not the cutest thing?
This is the best story
This is
ever.
the best. And
That
so,
sounds like a Disney Plus show
I
waiting to happen.
know.
13 girls and Larry.
14 girls. 14
girls
Disney
and Larry.
girls and Larry. 14 Disney girls and Larry. And they were the original opening team. And they came back to the Magic Kingdom, and they wore their name tags, and they had their D pins on, that gold D pin. But they would show guests coming down to see this orange field that's turning into a theme park. Like, what are we walking into? And they would showcase the Magic Kingdom via glass. And, you know, they didn't have the technology that we have today. So it was pamphlets being handed out, and maps and this and that. And so they came back, and Debby was an original vacation planner cast member who then was encouraged to go out for the ambassador team. So then she became the very first Walt Disney World ambassador in 1969. So everyone thinks that she was named in 1971. Well, she wasn't. She had to promote Walt Disney World and go really around the world as the emissary of goodwill and talk about what Walt Disney World was. People, of course, knew Disneyland, but to come here, this was going to be something different. This was going to open with resorts, 3 resorts. And, you know, maybe you at home can name the 3 resorts that opened right around the Magic Kingdom area. And it was really just Walt's dream for this to open. So Roy comes out of retirement, and Lillian comes out to open up this special Walt Disney World. And it was also Roy who said we shouldn't call it Disney World, we should call it Walt Disney World as a tribute to his brother. So I was so excited when she said yes to me to interview, for me to sit down and interview her. But prior to our interview, I was invited over to the beautiful Rose Garden to do an ambassador moment in front of the castle with Jeff and Josh Diamaro. And we did this great group picture. Melissa Valaket, who's the vice president of Magic Kingdom, she's a former ambassador. She actually was selected during the 25th anniversary. So when the castle was, you know, a birthday cake and hot pink, that was Melissa's ceremony. And Debby came back for that ceremony, and they remade her ambassador costume. So she comes out in her ambassador costume during the ceremony. And I was an intern during that ceremony. So I was just this little Epcot intern in the audience crying, thinking, who are these people? And how do you get to stand up there? And then 10 years later, I went and interviewed for the role and did not get it. I was always the bridesmaid at Disney. I was finally the bride, though, in 2007 when I was selected for the 2008 team. And so we got to go back, and we did a great ambassador moment. I haven't seen my ambassador family in a long time because of COVID. Right. We stay together. We do a lot of Zoom meetings, and we stay really close together. But this was like the first time that we could hug each other and be together and be like, I could see you standing up, you know. So it was such a moment. And God bless Marissa, because the sun is beating down on all of us. There's no water to be found. And I finally see Marissa through the crowd, and she holds up this ice cold bottle of water, and I was like, thank you. So she was able to finagle water, which, you know, not to my surprise at all. But then we walked over with Debby.
Did she give the water to you or to Debby?
She just showed it to me, and she drank it.
This is for the first ambassador.
Yes, exactly. Sorry, but you were much later. So it was so special. But we'd love to share with you now that the interview with Debby that Marissa shot from her iPhone that almost died.
I will preface this. We are going to edit edit this the best way we know
Yes.
possible and give you guys the best audio we can. But forgive us. It was filmed on my iPhone.
Yeah.
We tried to find a spot with shade, right? And so we are in Tomorrowland in a busy area. So it's not the best quality,
It's
but
not.
the content is
It's so great. I had a dream of just sitting like down at a table with the castle behind her, one of those tables that right outside the plaza with the umbrellas.
By the way, people were sitting there since 6:30 a.m.
Since 6:30 a.m. I asked this one woman, I said, are you done, ma'am? And she said, no. And I said, oh, she's going to be here for a long time. So I Marissa scoured one area.
We were like hovering like crazy
I scoured
people.
another. And I looked at Marissa, I said, these people are not leaving.
You guys couldn't pull the ambassador card? Like
Nobody cared.
nobody cared. They're like, we got here at 6:30.
We got up at 3 o'clock to be here.
The
so
fireworks
no.
are tonight at 9.
Yeah,
and I
we're
ain't
not
moving.
leaving.
We're not leaving. So we wanted Debbie to sit in a shaded area and have a seat, and we did too, and get some water. So like Marissa said, it's not the highest of quality. We did the best we could, but I think you will just love her story. She had us in tears. So take a listen.
That's amazing.
Thank you so much, Debbie, for being here on Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary. This is so exciting.
It is exciting. I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Well, we wouldn't expect you to be anywhere else, especially as the opening day, not just cast member, but as the opening day Walt Disney World Ambassador. And take us back to that time in your life and how you became an ambassador for Disney.
It was amazing. I'm from a very small town, Forest City. It's about an hour from here. I went to FTU, which is now UCF. I was living on campus, so I was in a dorm, and my roommate and I were sleeping like all freshmen do. I got a phone call about 7:30 in the morning. I picked up the phone and I said, hello. It was my dad. He said, have you seen the newspaper today? I went, no. What college freshman even has a newspaper? And I said, plus we don't have class till 11 o'clock. So he said, well, there's a big article. Disney is looking for their first 14 Disney girls to be hostesses at the preview center. He said, you need to go out and check it out. I said, does this mean you want me to get a job? And he said, yes, it does. So I went out, I drove out. I thought literally I was going to end up in Tampa because it was dirt roads once you got past the certain point of I-4 being built. And then you got off and we went to it's the administration area where the steel old aluminum buildings are.
Yes.
I'm going to Vista. They may still have their construction there, but at that time this was just a general utility building. And there was 400 girls that came out for the 14 positions. We were in this big long line. They had 2 days, so the day I was there was probably several hundred. So you finally made it inside, and the first person I met there was Holly Holscher, who was in guest relations at Disneyland. She was the most beautiful lady I had ever seen. She was all that you would think Disney would be. She was sparkling. She was oozing pixie dust. And after talking to her, I knew I wanted this. I wanted Disney. I wanted to be part of the magic. Orlando area, that's all anyone talked about. It was Disney's coming. What's it going to be like? Most people in the eastern United States had not been to Disneyland.
Sure.
So it was an electricity and just in the air. And again, whether you were at your kid's soccer game, a high school football game, lunch with your friends, or at the office cooler, you were talking about Disney. So I came out for that interview. I met 2 other people who ended up to be my supervisors. Valerie Watson, who was like a French pastry. If Holly was apple pie, Valerie was a French pastry.
I love that analogy.
And I saw her and I went, oh, I don't even know anybody like this. Mm-hmm. And again, she was from Disneyland. Then I met Bill Holscher, who ended up to be my immediate supervisor. I said, oh, if I don't get this, I'll be crushed. I will be brokenhearted. Fortunately, I was invited back to the second round of interviews, and then the third round of interviews, and then I got the job. Mm-hmm. So we actually hired on November of 1969. Going out on the site was a real treat. We went out, we would occasionally go out with participants or would-be participants. And again, there was a big balloon where the castle was to tell us what was the castle, because it was just, they were building the first floor, which is the utilidor.
Right.
So there was a balloon on all this dirt, and they had scooped out the lagoon. Bay Lake was drained. One day I parked my car at the bottom of Bay Lake.
Oh my God.
It was just so unreal to me. It was almost like a moonscape or something.
Sure.
So there were steel beams, and there was wood, and there was rocks to make concrete whatevers, and it just was cranes. There had to have been 50 cranes all over as far as the eye could see. So anyway, we had a balloon for the Polynesian, we had a balloon for the castle, we had a balloon for the contemporary, and that was also those that actually had a purpose, not just for us to say to these participants or VIPs or politicians or whomever we were courting or wanted them to see the project, Florida project. It was for sight lines and actually to tell people where to go, because even the contractors, they would be like, go to the pink balloon because that's where you're working today. So it was amazing. It was well, the largest at the time, the largest construction project in the world.
Right.
And to be part of that was electrifying.
Just unbelievable, too, to see it all kind of grow up.
It's my baby.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's my
And then
baby.
when you were a tour guide, you had a very special moment, too, with Lily and Disney. Was that when you were an ambassador, or was that when you were a tour guide?
I was ambassador.
You were an ambassador. Take
Yes.
us a little bit through that ambassador journey of
Okay.
becoming the ambassador, the very first ambassador to Disney World.
My supervisor, Holly, that I told you was like the apple pie,
Yes.
and so wonderful. The perfect flip and beautiful smile, and so smart and so outgoing. I mean, just a people person. So one day she said, "Are you going to try out for the ambassador?" And I went, "Oh, no, I was in school. There were 4 of us that were part-time, and so we were students. And then there were 10 full-time Disney girls at the preview center. I said, "I don't think so." She said, "I really think you need to try, you need to go for it." I said, "Okay, I will." And so it was open to anyone in the company, and there was probably a female. I mean, the rules were different then.
Yes.
It
Tell
was
us the rules.
Okay, you had to be single.
Yes.
You had to be between 18 and 26, I believe. You had to have never been married. You had to promise that you would not marry.
Right.
You would be under contract, and literally like a star contract owned by the company. So for your charm, you had to always have act in a mode becoming to Disney, because you were the face of Disney. So I tried out for that with a lot of, I think maybe at that time we were like 100 women, because by then we were getting close to opening, and they had increased our cast member population. So tried out, had the different interviews, and they were with people like Dick Nunes, and Card Walker, Don Tatum. So they were the upper echelon of the California Disney executives.
Right.
We would have lunches with them. We would do some mock interviews, similar to what you would have done. I know, right?
Very similar process.
Yeah. And then, so we didn't have a castle, or we didn't even have Walt Disney World at that point yet. I mean, as far as a building, the previous center was the only building that we had that was open to the public. We had my ceremony at the Hilton Inn South, which is still off I-4, and that was the very last exit before I-4 was dirt.
Oh my God.
So we had our, the company leased the Hilton Inn South to train our culinary, our hotel people, because Disney had not really been in the hotel business, because another company had owned Disneyland Hotel. We had invited about 200 participants. We had the mayor, we had all the local politicians, We had many of our partners. I think I said that maybe. So we just had all of these who's who in the Orlando and Central Florida area. Jack Lindquist, who now was my boss because he was at that time the director or vice president of marketing. There were 3 finalists: Joanne, myself, and Pam. They called us up on the stage. They'd all had their lunch. All of these gentlemen, it was pretty much gentlemen there. They had lunch. They had us come up on the stage. Mickey came out with the envelope, and Jack took the envelope. He opened it up and read my name.
And it was you.
That it was me. I never thought it would be. That was such a defining moment of my life. It changed my life.
Right.
Really, the whole Disney organization changed my life. From the moment I was at the preview center, and then to be ambassador, it was just stellar. Really.
It's a dream come true because you worked so hard for it.
Yes.
And then when your name is called, it's a very surreal moment.
It is.
Yes.
You almost don't think it's you.
You don't think it's you.
No,
You don't think it's you.
I don't know who they said because you're
right. You have out-of-body
You
experience
do,
for just
you
a
do.
moment.
We had the preview center where we had the preview month of October, which was a test run because at Disneyland it had been a fiasco.
Right.
So we called that our October preview month. The 1st of October, Jack Lindquist and myself and Dick Nunes and Charlie Ridgway, mostly the gentlemen who, there were 16 turnstiles at the time. I think there's 20 now, but there were 16 then. And all these people wanted to be first, even though it had not been advertised that they would select a first family. People thought, well, maybe they will, or maybe the first 5 families will get in, who knows. So they all were there bright and early, and we were there at 5. So we were standing out there, and Charlie and Dick and Jack said there was about 2 families that could have been perfect. So Jack came up and he said, Debbie, what do you think between like turnstile number 6 and turnstile number 12? What do you think? And I said, that family right there are perfect. They were mom and dad and 2 little boys, 3-year-old and 18 months old. Darling little, they're just so precious. So Jack and I agree, and they selected that family. And then Mickey and I toured them the whole day, took them to lunch. The company gave them this big key to the city, to Walt Disney World. Have you seen that?
I have seen the picture of it. How special.
Yeah, it really was. And then we went on all the attractions that were open at the time. We walked right on. They didn't have to wait.
Wow.
We took them to lunch, and then they got to spend the night at the Contemporary.
Oh my gosh. Just like a true magical moment for them too.
Yes. Marty and I are still in touch.
Are you?
In fact, I have got to call her today.
Yeah.
She, that was totally a watershed moment for
Yes,
them.
I'm sure.
They were just in awe
Yeah.
of the whole thing.
So Debbie, now you have the first family coming into Walt Disney World. You're the new Walt Disney World Ambassador. Tell us a little bit about that first week of that dedication week.
The dedication week was the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of October. So it was about 3 weeks later. We had most of our glitches taken care of. There was landscaping, and instead of the college boys laying sod in the middle of the night at the Contemporary, they had ripped all that up and actually landscaped it. So everything looked beautiful. We had, the first night was the World Symphony in front of the castle, and it was the most magical night. I truly thought I was Cinderella that night.
Just saw that on YouTube for the very first time. That was amazing. I had never seen it before.
It was wonderful. It was a black tie event. My brother was my date because my husband played football at Florida and he had a game. So he couldn't go. We were just dating then anyway.
Right.
But so we rode the monorail over, which was my coach, with all these celebrities in the monorail with you, monorail after monorail filled of all the names of that day, 50 years ago. So that night was truly most magical. That was amazing. And of course, Lillian Disney was there, and Lori and Edna, who I had the pleasure of meeting many occasions. In fact, I used to occasionally be asked to help at they had 5 cottages on Lake Tibet in Windermere that were Disney. And so Roy and Edna had one, and Joe Fowler and his wife had one. And then the other execs would use these other cottages, and they were right on the lake. And they would throw barbecues, and occasionally I would be asked to come as ambassador and meet these people and just mingle and say hi, which was obviously incredible to like have a barbecue with Roy and all these big guys. I was so out of my league.
I don't think so.
I truly was.
It's so young
I
to
was
be
19
having
at
all
that
of this
point.
responsibility on you. I know. And Lake Tibet, I didn't know that they were over in Windermere.
Yes, and now they had,
So funny.
in like 2000, those 5 cottages, which I'm telling you, they were not cottages. They were absolutely
Spectacular.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
They were. But they weren't 5,000 square feet.
Right.
They were like 2,000.
Yeah.
But they were the nines.
I
the
bet.
nines.
I bet.
And the furnishings, art, everything was so beautiful. Monday was the dedication.
Okay.
And that's the day that we had the big parade with 1,000 trombones and Meredith Wilson leading that huge. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven because it really was so incredible. So that day, Lillian and I from Frontierland, the entrance there, rode in one of the electric cars all the way through, and then to Town Square, where then I helped her get out, and then she and Roy and Edna were escorted to their seats
To do the dedication.
for the dedication.
Oh my
And then Roy
gosh.
dedicated, and then I went to my seat too.
What a beautiful moment. Is it like etched in the front of your mind? Can you still kind of
Always.
go back to that moment?
Always, yeah.
Yeah.
I smell that moment.
I'm sure.
I do.
Right.
Yeah.
The whole experience of
Yeah.
it. Was that the moment too? Because the famous Time Life picture, the opening of Walt Disney World in 1971, was that shot that same day?
No.
I didn't think so.
No, that was another day earlier that was shot, and that was so much fun because about 2,500 of us, I think, went for that photo, and we were out in the early morning sun
Sure.
before the park opened. It was a most memorable, one of those just most memorable special things, and I'll never forget. And you're going to appreciate this because as ambassador, you represent the cast, the company. I used to always think of it at first Walt and Roy, and then the Disney family and the company, and then equal to all of that was the cast, because that's what makes it work. So, and that's where the magic is created every day for every one of these guests. The company had placed Mickey and Minnie and the characters, and then they said, Debbie, you're going to be right behind Mickey, about 6 feet in front of the cast. And so that's how they lined us up. So Mickey and the characters were there, and then I was all by myself in front of between Mickey and the first row of the cast, which was like the Main Street Band or something. And at the time, I knew these people because we were small. I knew my cast. How you ever do it now with like 82,000?
Right.
I don't know. So they. I was talking to my cast right behind me, and they're like, okay, we're going to take the photo. I couldn't stand out in front of them. So I just backed up in front of them. And then the 2 guys did take 1 step back so that I would be a little bit in front. But I could not be. I didn't know they did that because I could not be in front of my cast. I love them so
Part
much.
of it. Right.
Yeah,
You're part
I'm
of it.
not
I understand.
Special.
Right.
And so anyway, that's how that was taken.
That is an iconic picture.
It
that
is.
Now, today on the October 1st, it's all over
Is
Facebook
it?
today.
Is
Everybody's posting it today. So Debbie, thank you so much. As we kind of wrap up our time together, can you share with us maybe a magical moment that you always really go back to in your mind?
There would be 2 of them. The first one was opening day, bringing the Windsor family, through the turnstiles, onto the monorail, around around the lagoon, to the Magic Kingdom, walking down, and then coming into Town Square and seeing the castle. That moment was really indescribable. It was like 100 kaleidoscopes all came together, and it was beautiful. But not only just because it was the Windsors, all the other guests that were there, and they were ecstatic and joyful, and families and people are laughing and crying, and it just because Walt Disney World was open, and it was a special day. The other special day would have to be dedication day. So that was Roy dedicating Walt Disney World to Walt. Was a very touching, emotional time. Did you meet Roy?
No, I never did.
He was I would say he was wonderful. But he was quiet, not outgoing from what I hear about Walt being, more outgoing. And he was a very genuinely nice man, and I had several opportunities to spend time with him. He was so touched, and he didn't feel well. And yet he got up there, and his emotions took over. He was speaking, and then he said, "Where's Mickey?" He needed Mickey because Mickey was the closest thing to Walt that he could physically be in the presence of. So that moment was really special. Having Walt Disney World dedicated by Roy was probably those two things. And then there's 500 more.
I know. It's hard to pick just one or two.
Oh, you can't. It's really.
Thank you
so many.
so much for being here with us. You're one of my heroes.
You're my hero.
Oh, I just love it. Thank you so much, Debbie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That was awesome. You guys, that was so...
She's great, isn't she?
That is amazing. And Kerri, I don't want to gloss over the fact that how cool is it, Marissa, that Kerri's a Walt Disney World Ambassador. And she's here. We get to work with her every single day and part of our team and part of this, again, long-standing tradition of having just great cast members being a part of this team, and just the fact that you're an ambassador, and the fact that some young person 50 years from now will sit you down and interview you at Walt
But
Disney
you never
World.
know. Some young person is listening to the show and going, I get to hear an ambassador, recapture that moment.
Which is
so
crazy.
sweet.
So we're so honored. And that's just an amazing,
Just make sure
amazing
if we
story.
do that, have water.
Have water.
Have it ready.
Just have some cold water. Yeah,
Right.
she's wonderful, isn't she? And it is such an honor to have that role and to spread that. And when we were there on Friday, I think that's when I went home that night, Randy said to me, you're like walking on cloud 9, and I said, I feel like I am on cloud 9. Like, it was so special. But with Debbie, she said something that took me back. And after, when we were done, I looked at Marissa. Marissa has tears in her eyes, and I'm trying not to cry. But the story that she tells about Roy Disney and how she comes down the street with Roy and Lillian, and then her and Lillian take their seats, and Roy doesn't feel well that day. And I hope the audio, you can hear okay that he asks for Mickey Mouse to come and stand next to him. And he gestures, and Mickey stands next to him because Mickey is the closest thing to Walt that Roy has in that moment, and he needed that strength. And I just, you're in this moment where we're in Tomorrowland, one of the noisiest lands around, and the speedway's behind us. But in that moment with her, it was truly just like the three of us. It was just so special to think back to that moment with them.
I mean, again, my videoing might be shaking a little in that moment because it just was surreal. I went home. I literally, on the drive home, called my mom, and I was like, Mom, you will never believe. It was such a magical moment, and I'm so proud of us for being able to bring that onto this show because
so am
I love the little history. I think we talked about this, but we're Disney purists, right?
Yeah.
We love the Disney history, and those things are what make Disney so special. Mm-hmm. And I know she talked about this a little bit, but that she's the front and center of that Lifetime cover, right? The classic Lifetime cover of the opening of Walt Disney World. And Debby Dane Browne is the front and center of this huge triangle.
Right.
And it's so incredible.
The picture that everybody's seen.
Yeah,
everybody's seen it.
Classic
Everybody's seen that
Lifetime.
classic picture.
And we talk about this a little bit, but they positioned her to be front and center.
Yeah.
But she said it's all about the cast, right? And I think from us being cast members, that's what it's all about, right?
It
It's
is.
about that feeling and what we can create. And the cast members from 1971 are the same today, right?
Yes.
They live to make magic. They
Right.
live for this environment. And she said that she was set to be front and center and stepped above the cast members, but she didn't want to because they had all worked since 1969, right?
Right.
They had worked 2-3
build this,
years
yes.
to build all of this and create it, and they finally got to celebrate. And she said as they were taking the picture, she took a step back so she could be there as
In line.
equal. She didn't want to be one step above. They had all
Right.
worked on it together.
Yeah.
She said, but the guys behind her purposely took one more
Yes.
step back because they wanted to keep
Yes,
her
they
front and
wanted
center.
to- they wanted
But
to put her
that,
front and center.
I think,
Yeah.
is the true essence of what makes
Yeah.
a Disney cast member,
Yeah.
right? You don't do it for the fame or the glory. You do it for those magical moments. And I mean, just so much cool stuff. I obviously I did a little sleuthing and researching afterwards because I'm like, there's cottages on Lake Tibbet. I need to know about
We
these.
need to know more about that.
There's 5 cottages. There's
She's
still
Googling on the way home, calling her mom, crying in one hand, researching deeds.
Zillow, Orange County appraisers, record search. I am a real estate agent, so I have access to this stuff. But the cottages still stand today. They're
Yes.
2-bedroom, 2-bath. They're exactly in their same condition. Now the insides are probably renovated, but they're in the same location on Lake Tibbet. They were originally bought for $39,500 for all 5. They sold them
Imagine.
to so it
imagine?
was known, and I'll put the link. Our friends at Disboards actually did a whole article on this, so I'll put the link so you can kind of read the history of it. But basically they built those because they didn't want to be stuck staying at hotels. They wanted to have like a home away from home
Right.
for the Disney executives, and so they would spend their evenings and kind of days out there on the lake. How beautiful, right?
And then for those that may not be familiar with Lake Tibbet, that's
Yeah.
probably how far away from Walt Disney World, driving distance.
I mean,
20 minutes, 25 minutes?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's not far at all.
it's
And
known as the chain of lakes.
The chain
So
of lakes,
You can
yes.
see like fireworks from the chain
Yes.
of lakes, and so that's what makes like our office is so special because we're
Right.
kind of right there. But they resold them in 2001 for $2 million. So great return on investment there.
Really great.
But yeah, it was kind of cool to get that piece of Disney
Yeah.
that I had no idea. Right, like we live here.
Yeah.
I have a boat and I'm on those lakes all the
All
time.
the- right, right.
and I had no idea.
and I,
You're going to be pulling your boat up and just like stalking. Like
we
just, like,
are. We're gonna, we have a boat
Yes.
trip. Yes. But even like I see Debbie, sometimes at our events, all,
Yep.
all the time at our events, but you don't get that time with her
Right.
because there's always, 100 people around us and,
Right.
and everything. So to hear that, I mean, it's the same. I thought
Right.
there's cottages. And then she said, well, they're not really cottages. They were like 3,000 square feet and, done up to the nines, and that she would go there for barbecues and with Roy Disney and what? I mean, it was just
Surreal.
so cool. Like I wanted to put her on the main street or on the castle stage and
know.
just like have story time with Debby Dane Browne.
Project that down Main Street. Like I think people. So I mean, Kerri and I, we were able to make that day even more special. Like I
Yes.
think if I look back on my experience of the 50th, and I'll try not to tear up here, but it was just like so magical. Like that day will forever. So thank you for making that
Yeah.
happen, Kerri, because
Oh,
that day
gosh,
for
yeah.
me will forever live in like history of being like I was there on the 50th, but I got to sit with someone so special
Yeah.
and get so much out of it. And I think that is the biggest takeaway, right? There's so many opinions online and everybody has their opinion. Everyone's an expert.
Yeah.
And I think we have so high of expectations coming in where we want to grab that special mug or that pin or those ears to say we were there. But it's not always about that. Sometimes it's about remembering why Disney is magical for you. And I think coming back, if you're coming for the 18-month of the 50th celebration, take that into heart. Don't get discouraged if it's not exactly what you expect it to be, but find your own magic. Find a way to make it magical for you. Find a way to commemorate it so that you can look back and tell your kids or your grandkids about the time that you were there for the 50th. And there's magic all around. These cast members, they've been there for years, right? Some of them are new. Some of them got to get that special name tag. Ask them about it. Look out for
That's
it.
what I was just going to say. I think the name tag says making magic since
Yes.
and then their year. So you will see a group of 1971 that were opening day cast members.
Yep.
And so as you go out, I know we'll be doing that too. If somebody's been there since 2001 or 1995, those stories that they have, and that's what I love about a community and how important a community is, and this Disney community that we all have, and we can get caught up, and the ears aren't perfect, and this is sold out, and this didn't work. But finding that magic within yourself to bring to your family, and then just talking to the cast members, you will have a different type of magic, a different level.
That's what I feel too. Just even hearing you share those stories too, it just kind of reminds me. Hey, first of all, you guys on October 1st walked away with some of the most amazing stories of all. Yeah. I walked away with a Lego castle and a beer and some calamari, but it was still good.
Still
but
a good day. I would say still a really good day.
Amazing job. But we wanted to though make it special in our own way.
Right.
So we, again, being a DVC member, went online almost like a week or two before, found that last minute cancellation. So a room at the Polynesian was available for Sunday night. So Sunday, October 3rd. Okay. So we said, you know what? Leave the kids at home. Let's get away. Just Annie and I go there to the Polynesian, spent all day at the pool, right? Which I think, hands down, this is probably a topic for another show, but what is your favorite DVC resort if you could only stay at one ever for the rest of your membership? Mine would be the Polynesian, because you're there at that pool, right? And you're floating around and you could see Cinderella's castle all decorated up for the 50th. And then it comes down to, again, nighttime. So it's the new Enchanted fireworks show. And like Marissa said, like Kerri said, everybody's got their opinions on it, right? The minute that show ended, you could go online and read 1,000 reviews. I went online and watched it, right? Online. And I was like, it's okay. Again, I was pulling a Marissa card, like if I controlled that show, this is what I would make it. And I would start with Walt Disney's, original speech about the Florida project and make the castle like all black, and then it slowly gets lit up. I mean, I get goosebumps because it's an amazing idea.
In our own imaginary
We're show writers,
our own imaginary idea.
Too.
But that night at the Polynesian on the beach, right? Because if you've never been to the Polynesian at night, they pump in the music on the speakers and you're sitting on the beach. Yeah. You're staring across and you're watching it, and we're watching it. And again, I get goosebumps thinking about it because what it comes down to, it is.
You really
do. Honest to God. I think it's my new shirt. But watching the show, it makes you realize that it's not about us, armchair quarterbacks, right? Thinking like, oh, I would do this, or this. It was about, I'm sitting there watching kids dancing and slow dancing with their moms and dads to the Disney music, and
so special.
Seeing the couples like put their arms around each other or holding hands or laying in a hammock, watching it and tearing up watching this incredible fireworks show, right? So at the end of the day, it's not about what it could have been or what this. At the end of the day, you're watching fireworks go off over Cinderella Castle, set to some of the most amazing, heartfelt, beautiful music in the world, and you can't go wrong with it. And that's what it comes down to, being a cast member is, those cast members put their blood, sweat, and tears into every part of this entertainment, and they will continue to do so for the next 18 months. So just enjoy it. Yeah. Enjoy those little moments that may not be, I've got this set for this time on this day, and it better be a 10 out of 10, or I am going online and I'm going to make the angriest review about it. It could just be a simple matter of meeting that great cast member at dinner, right? And making a great meal even better, or just hearing stories like that. So that's what it comes down to. Really, that's why it's just the most magical place in the world. And we have 18 more months of this celebration to go.
So exciting.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So excited. What's
Did you hear that?
What's that?
Oh,
it is.
It's finally
the time.
It's the time.
We've been waiting for this story.
20
Story
years
time
in the
with
making.
Sue.
Here's the Walt story.
Take it away, Sue.
Welcome to Storytime with Sue. If you remember back in episode 2, we kind of left you with a cliffhanger about me going to the World's Fair in 1964. And the last question that Kerri asked me was, did you meet Walt? And the answer, yes. So let me tell you the story about my experience at age 12 at the New York World's Fair in 1964, meeting Walt Disney. Remember, way back then, kids dressed up. When we went to theme parks, we dressed up. So we were in dresses, black patent leather shoes. My brothers were in tiny little suits with the bow ties. And we all went to the opening press event of the Ford Pavilion. And as I mentioned, Walt cut the ribbon, and we all went on the ride, and we saw the animatronic dinosaurs that he created. And then afterwards, the adults went to a reception area for the adults, and the kids went to a reception area for the children. And it was kind of like a big sunken living room, and there was all kinds of carnival fare, hot dogs and hamburgers, and cotton candy, one of my favorites. And it was just loaded with children. And as children can be, we can be a little bit rambunctious and loud, and with glee, just everyone was laughing and having a good time. And all of a sudden, in comes Walt into this room, and he stood at the top of the platform going down the stairs, and he just clapped his hands. And he said, "Children, how about if I tell you a story?" And everyone sat exactly where they were standing, in their suits and in their dresses with their little white gloves. Everyone sat. And you know what? You could hear a pin drop. I mean, I was impressed. I was just amazed that there was dead silence. And Walt sat on that top step and he told us a story, and he acted out all the parts. So there was the mean hunter and the scared little bunny rabbit, and he acted them out just as you would see him act out on television. It was fantastic. And as he's telling us the story, at age 12, I was just amazed to look around and to see the wide eyes of all these kids looking at Uncle Walt, the guy on TV. And he had everybody's attention. He had them in the palm of his hand. And later on, I learned that's what charisma is all about. And my gosh, did he have charisma. So after he told the story, we all clapped and cheered, and he had us make a line, and he took a stack of cocktail napkins, and he drew Mickey, and he signed his name, and he handed it out to each and every one of us. And we had a cartoon drawing of Mickey signed by Walt Disney, the guy on TV. It was so nice. And my mom took it and she put it into a book for me so it would stay nice and flat. Well, it got a little yellow over the years, and one of the biggest questions I get asked is, "Do you still have it?" And boy, do I wish I still had that piece of paper. But it got a little yellow, and Mom said, "He's just the guy on TV, no big deal," and threw it out. But it was the experience I had in being able to meet him, to hear him tell a story, and to just see the charisma that this man had. And that changed my life. From that point forward, I tried to learn as much about Walt Disney. I tried to follow what Walt Disney was all about. And eventually, at age 50, it led me to a career change here at Disney World. And I never regret a moment of it. So keep in mind, dreams do come true. And speaking of dreams, I think it's time for all of you to go to bed. Sweet dreams. Until next time.
We should have
That
brought
was worth it.
her wand. We needed her wand here.
Right.
That
So
was
great.
worth it. On a
Yeah.
day
The
of
way-
amazing stories, there's so many
Yeah.
incredible
A
stories.
Walt Disney connection. 6 degrees of separation. We're like 3 people away from Walt Disney.
We've made it.
We've made it.
I love it. So this was incredible. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank
Yeah.
you guys for going there
always
on
so good to
October the
see you.
1st. It was incredible stories. So thank you for sharing those. And most importantly, thank you guys for listening.
Yes.
Thank you guys for watching and being part of our Disney family. We
Yes.
absolutely love to be able to do these shows each and every month. So your response to these shows has just been great. So make sure that you sign up to win that incredible
Yes.
gift basket.
Oh, I love it.
The incredible gift basket.
And
Make sure-
email us, info@worldofdvc.com. Again, give us a like, a follow, check us out on our Instagram handles, and somebody's going to get that amazing
know.
prize.
Like,
Yeah.
follow, subscribe,
Yeah.
smoke
Just do
signals,
something.
Do
Just
us do something.
snail mail.
Right, even put a comment in if you watched the show that you
Yes.
enjoyed the show and what you really loved from it too, because we love hearing from you.
We
love
really,
to,
really
we'd love
do.
to know that on Instagram.
Nothing more than I look forward to than show day because I learn something new
know.
every
Yeah.
single
Every
day.
time,
So
yeah.
this was great. So I think we have, as you all know, that long-standing
Standing
tradition. This
tradition.
is episode number 6. So this one's a little bit special.
Yep.
So I think we've rehearsed it enough to be able to say, ready?
Happy 50th anniversary, Walt Disney World.
And
We'll see you real soon.
Ho, ho, bo.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Please remove your headphones, step back into reality, have a magical day, and we'll see you real soon.